welcome to Hello and welcome to the most excellent 80s movie podcast on the Most Excellent Podcast Network. It's the podcast where a filmmaker and two comedians are here to regulate your enjoyment of revisiting the 80s movies we all love, and we're damn good too. But you can't be any geek off the street. You gotta be handy with the sass and earn your keep. This is Season 1, Episode 9, Young Guns, our movie selection from 1988.
Reasons why the West was wild.
No one's fool enough to go after Murphy's people.
Emilio Estevez.
I'm in. Deputize them.
Kiefer Sutherland.
You look like trouble.
Trouble? You think I look like trouble? I'm a poet. Between those are just boys. Ain't one of them over 21. Murphy's men will shred them in half within a day.
Casey Shimashko.
I'm a pugilist. Court adjourned.
Dermot Mulroney.
He ain't all there, is he?
Lou Diamond Phillips.
My vision told me we're headed for blood.
Charlie Sheen.
We got warrants! We're the law! You were supposed to serve 11 warrants and expose the ring. Instead, you went on the warpath. The governor's revoked your deputization powers. You're now wanted by the legitimate law as well as those outside the law. You're being hunted by troops.
I like these odds.
Young Guns.
That might be the worst trailer yet. Anyway, hello, I am comedian and improviser Chrissy Lenz, director of National Comedy Theater, and with me as always is...
Nathan Blackwell, filmmaker. I'm a writer-director. I do comedies and the web series Voyage Trekkers from Squishy Studios.
And with us today we have a guest.
Hello.
That's Nate McWhortor,
That's me.
also a comedian improviser at National Comedy Theater. Also the co-host of Gank That Drank, a
Yes.
supernatural drinking game podcast, which can also be found on the Most Excellent Podcast Network. Hello, Nate.
Hello, Chrissy. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Nate.
I hope
Hello,
this
Chrissy.
won't get confusing. I don't think it will.
I only podcast with people who have variations on the name. Nathaniel.
You're not my first Nate, so...
Yeah. Same.
All right, so you have a summary for us.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Okay.
In the movie Unforgiven, we discover violence and the path of revenge is a terrible thing. But in Young Guns, it's fucking awesome.
Yes. Oh my God.
Wow.
It's also the story of how one man can ruin the lives of everyone he encounters.
Let me tell you, more than any movie we've seen, there's a way to frame this movie. This could be, you could really look at this whole movie as if you put a bunch of 19-year-old actors into Westworld, and what a terrible string of decisions and violence and like, hey, let's just get high and hook up with some hookers and make the worst decisions ever and go on a path of random violence and let's trust the most charismatic, violent psychopath and yeah.
He's like a cult leader, essentially. They're less his gang and more his hostages.
It's almost like it's like he's playing a Western version of GTA. It's just like an open world for him. And he's like, yeah, no, today I'm going to go back to this town where everyone wants to kill me and just see what kind of trouble I can get into.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, I don't know where he got the helicopter from, but that was, that was interesting.
And the he we're referring to is, of course, William H. Bonney or Billy the Kid. This movie, I think, is loosely based in historical fact.
Yes.
It's the story of Billy the Kid and, like, the Tunstall McSween English guy cattle wars of New Mexico in the 18-somethings, which we're all familiar with the history.
Vaguely.
Being
The
in
regulators.
Southwest.
Yeah. This
Yes.
is a
This
cautionary...
the story of how Warren G. Got inspired to make music. Yes. Am I wrong about that? I think that's correct.
It's a cautionary tale that you really should not trust Billy the Kid.
No, never.
And you should trust Charlie Sheen.
So many
Always
lessons
trust Charlie
to
Sheen.
learn. Yeah, Charlie Sheen is the voice of reason in Young Guns, which tells you right from the start everything about it is upside down. So, Nate, for you, this was your first time seeing Young Guns.
First time seeing it. Never even really
Last
heard of
time
it
seeing
before.
it.
Never, like, I didn't even have, like, it's a movie, you know, there's movies where you haven't seen it, but you know references to it. Knew nothing about it going into it.
Really?
And I'm surprised,
Really?
also because this was really hard to track down too. It's like, you know, it's like you, Chrissy, you and I, we both watched this movie many, many times when we were young.
Yeah, I went into it convinced that I, A, loved it, and B, that it was a great movie that you were also going to love, Nate. And boy, was I wrong. But you're right. It was impossible to find streaming, much like Mannequin, our last movie. We had to all get together and hang out and have a little viewing party, which in the end I think was a better choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't find this movie streaming anywhere. And I really asked myself, why? This is a great movie. Why doesn't everyone want to watch Young Guns all the time? And I think we found the answer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little surprised that we couldn't find it streaming online, because this seems like the perfect movie that you'd be like 2 a.m. just scrolling through the deep channels of Hulu, and you're like,
Young
"Oh,
Guns?
Young Guns!
Wait,
yeah, let me
it's-
put that on."
It's like the Brat Pack Western.
Yeah. It's a Brat Pack Western. Well, I mean, loosely.
Okay, here's another way to frame the movie. It's like, okay, like pitching the movie in the room. It's like, let's take like all the heartthrobs of like the late 80s. Let's just fucking kill them.
Let's not change any of their hair. Leave all their hair the same as it is now.
They don't have to change their accents. I mean,
Except
Charlie
for
Sheen will probably do
Sheen's
something
gonna
weird.
try to do it.
Let's talk about Charlie Sheen's accent, because that happens right at the beginning of the movie. And then let's back it up and talk about the actual beginning of the movie, because I need to have some discussion about John Tunstall. Before we get there, because you introduced it, yes, Charlie Sheen is doing an accent in this movie. Nobody else is. Like, Kiefer Sutherland is just like, hey, what's up? I am Kiefer Sutherland. You like Lost Boys? Now I'm a cowboy. Emilio Estevez is just like, hi, I'm Emilio Estevez. Wait a minute. Hi, I'm Billy the Kid, an Irish person who is in the Old West. And this is how we all know Irish people in the Old West talk. The only person who's trying on an accent is Charlie Sheen, who puts it on so thick that he's like, Billy the Kid, Billy, we're gonna skin out, Billy. We're the law. Like,
It was weird. It was weird. I don't know where it came
with
from.
all these guys, you do get the feel like there's moments where they're trying to out monologue each other or trying to out act each other.
Oh yeah, and Kiefer Sutherland for sure. The whole movie just trying super hard. Like, I feel like he's like had the most like concentrated like effort of anyone. The rest of them all look like they were just kind of fucking around.
Yeah, they're just going for it. Kiefer Sutherland is legitimately trying to act.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen is trying to legitimately overact. But the way that like all of the characters in this movie meet cute is that Billy the Kid kills somebody and is running away. And this guy, John Tunstall, who's British.
Played by Terrence Stamp.
Yes. He's like a cattle merchant who takes in young boys even when he knows them to be murderers. He takes them back to his ranch. They're basically his hands, right? Not like Game of Thrones
It's
style,
like Oliver
farm
Twist.
style. Yeah. And he tries to educate them and make them have manners. Am I getting that right?
No, that seems accurate and a noble cause.
Does it? Because I find it deeply suspicious.
I mean, suspicious. Yeah, I mean, they bring that up. They
won
raise
the
that
reading
point.
contest, young man. You may stay in my bed. There was just a scene deleted from there. Yeah, it was a bit strange.
Highly suspect.
Yeah. But of all the things,
But
in
really,
that
what does
time-
that say about us? I mean,
That with 2018 eyes, we're
Yeah.
looking back going, oh, no.
honestly, he was a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, the movie tells us that genuinely he just wanted to, like, teach these boys how to read.
Yeah.
This movie is devoid of sarcasm, but deserves so much.
So much! Anywho, he gets killed. Okay, here's my big question of the movie. So, what happens is, a British guy gets killed. All the boys are like, no, he was like our dad. We're upset. They get deputized. They go
For some reason.
to try and bring justice to, like, what the story is about is, like, they're trying to bring justice to these men who are above the law because they are the law. Like, the sheriff and the governor and all these people,
Right.
the Santa Fe ring.
Jack
they call him.
Palance, the evil
Palance. So evil.
meat
and
baron.
gross. Who's, like, a sleazy guy and a total dirtbag. But, like,
Meat baron.
the meat baron, he comes down, he brings like 30 guys down to Tunstall's farm to tell him he better not go after that government contract because Jack Palance has already got it all locked up and the governor's in his pocket and the state district attorney's in his pocket and everybody's in his pocket, so he better just watch out and then has him killed. But if he's got all those people in his pocket, why does he need to have this guy killed?
To kill him.
Let him be.
He's got esteem issues or something. I don't know. He's showing off because how many guys did he have to bring there to do this?
Just to get in his face and intimidate him when it's like, why? He goes after the cattle thing. You're going to get it anyway because you've bought off all these politicians. So then he goes home disappointed in the end. What if you lost?
Wasn't he trying to buy his farm and stuff then? Like, wasn't that the whole point of it, was to try to get his land?
He never offers him a buyout.
Maybe that was implied.
I don't know. I think he just wanted to kill him because he didn't like him because he was British. Is the old Irish British thing? Is that a thing?
Vaguely Irish. Jack Palance was vaguely Irish.
Yeah, but his name was Murphy and, like, I don't know. Anyway, I was just like, leave him alone. What he's literally not bothering you. Anywho, they kill him. The boys are supposed to be deputies and instead Billy the Kid just fucking kills everyone.
And
Yeah.
that's the
At
thing.
every opportunity.
Can you imagine in our world today if someone you love dies, gets murdered, and then the judge is like, you know what? I give you full power of the law to go after that person now. Here you go.
You're a deputy.
Loved one of the deceased who is mourning and wanting revenge. The law is in your hands. Here's a badge. Do whatever you want. That's what this movie's based on, that premise right there.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And it's almost like the filmmakers drop down into the movie and say, I've got a great idea. Let's make these guys deputies. And then the realistic version happens where they just fuck about and they shoot people in the street, you know, and they get high and they go in circles and they don't know what to do.
But they go a long
They have the
time. They
worst
do
planning.
a lot of terrible, terrible shit before they're finally like, you know what? You're not deputies anymore. We need those badges back.
I need to get those back.
They do so much bad stuff before we even reach that point.
I have a theory though, and it is that, you know, after dinner when he's having like reading time with the boys, and he's like, "No, Billy, here on my ranch, you will learn to be educated young men because it takes more than just being handy with this 6-shooter to make it in today's America." Which, a false premise. It does not take more than a 6-shooter to make it in that version of America. Just what a boring time to be alive. What a boring, horrible time to be alive. Everybody's smelly and disgusting. So yeah, what you do is, if someone kills someone you like, you kill everyone they've ever met. Inevitably, one of them gets mad at you, and then they all come to kill you and everyone you've ever met. And that's simply what we did before we had the internet.
I just like that everyone agrees on it. They're like, yeah, no, you have the right to go kill them now.
Now you're a
Yeah,
deputy.
you're good. You're good to go. Go for it.
Because did anyone honestly think that they were going to walk in and be like, hey, I got a warrant and a badge. You're coming peacefully with me. I'm going to take you to the jail where we know the corrupt sheriff is going to bring you to justice.
But I feel like the judge right, because that's who this guy was that gave him this power, that deputized him, right? Mm-hmm. He's a judge. And he's just like willy-nilly like, you know what? This is going to end. He even said, he's like, this is going to end in bloodshed. Mm-hmm. This is going to end in bloodshed. but go ahead. You
Let's
guys are
do
still
it
deputies.
anyway.
You're gonna get slaughtered. But you know what? Just do it. Like it's so, and that just seems to be like the motive for everyone in this movie. It's like, fuck it, okay, yeah, we're doing this now.
Yet there are so many points in this movie where up to 60 people are shooting limitless bullets at like one person who's like behind a piece of wood,
Ironwood.
and no one gets killed. Like,
I mean, it took 6 guys and several shots each person just to kill Tunsil.
Mhm.
And he stood up for him. He even stood up and was like, take me.
A Christ-like figure.
And it took him so long to shoot him.
everywhere else they go, like somebody goes behind a piece of rickety old outhouse wood and they are safe from the litany of bullets being fired at them.
They were hiding behind barrels. They were like rolling barrels as barricades at the end. Like, yeah, no, we're safe behind this.
Yeah. Bullets don't make any sense in the world of this movie. Time doesn't make any sense in the world of this movie.
No. Well, we have no idea how much time takes place.
Quick, fun game. How much time, beginning to end, do you think passes in the world of Young Guns from
Definitely more than our last movie, Mannequin.
which is like 3 days?
Yeah, like 3 or
1
4 days. I don't know. 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Okay, 4 weeks. What do you think?
Oh man, just actually, I would say 2 years.
I also think it's 2 years.
2 years.
What?
It's got it. No, it has to be even more than that.
I don't know, because at one point they make it, Charlie Sheen is saying, we can't go north because someone's coming for us. We can't go east, someone's coming for us. We can't go west, someone's coming. We can't go south. We would have to walk through the Indian reservation, and as we all know, they would slaughter us. Then they just go through the Indian reservation, and it seems to me like then they would be free.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
At what point do they go back through the Indian reservation to get back to Lincoln?
They had to cut that second peyote montage out of the movie. That's
For running time.
yeah, it was running long, so they cut them going back through.
They get away at least twice.
Oh yeah, none of the geography makes sense of
'Cause
any of this.
They go to Mexico. From wherever they are, he says it's going to take a week to get to Mexico. They get to Mexico. One dude meets someone and gets married in the time
Right.
it takes Billy the Kid to take a bath.
In a few hours, yeah.
And then they're like, no, we got to go back to Lincoln and be there by tomorrow afternoon. And they totally make it.
They took the Game of Thrones dragons and made it there. That's how they did it. Oh yeah, the time literally makes that. It could have been a week. It could have been 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
No way of telling or knowing.
Okay, so what are some other thoughts that we need to share?
Can we talk about the psychopath that is Emilio Estevez's character?
Please.
And how at every step in the story, he not only relishes in the pleasure of killing someone, the characters keep going along with him because they have no other agency to get rid of him or to disagree with him. The violence in this movie is shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Now that rewatching this, I realized I had seen this movie several times when it first came out, like on VHS, like in 1990 or whatever. And there were 2 movies, Young Guns and then The Untouchables, that were kind of like these forbidden fruits of violence.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd watch them when my mom wasn't home. And maybe I'd get a little bit of like a touch of nudity. There was just maybe like a nip slip or something like that.
There's an
But-
almost boob in Young Guns.
But it was almost like the shocking violence. And this movie, the violence is shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Like headshots and splatter across Kiefer Sutherland's face, and like people just main characters getting shot in the back, and it goes totally against like the kind of poppy music that begins and ends the movie.
So much saxophone.
Yeah,
And synth and sax.
yeah. There's okay. So yeah, there's. Jeez Louise, yeah.
He when he giggles joyfully after every time he murders someone. This almost like leprechaun-y giggle. He also giggles with joy whenever he puts his friends and their families at risk.
And there is consequences in the world of his actions, but never any pushback by the other characters in any meaningful way. They're like, no. Billy, you can't do that. There's no consequences within his group of like him taking the lead and then murdering someone in a corner and then getting them into huge trouble. There's never anything other than just banter.
Well, and they all try to leave. Lou Diamond Phillips is like, I'm out of here. Kiefer Sutherland is like, I'm going to bounce. They're all like, let's go to California. Let's go to Mexico. This is stupid. We don't want to participate. And the way he keeps reeling them back in is with the power of friendship. Like he says, the
power of pals.
We're pals, so you can't leave. Nothing is more important than the fact that we are, quote, pals.
And other than our montage by Chavez, none of them were like, hey, wait. No, fuck you. You just showed up. Mm-hmm. You just got here.
Everything was fine.
You've known Terrence Stamp for 3 days, and you're leading the revenge mission.
Yeah, he's the cult leader, essentially.
Yeah, and
I didn't know. I didn't think it was possible, but this is Emilio Estevez's least likable character.
Isn't he kind of a dick in St. Elmo's Fire? I don't know. I haven't seen that one in much longer than I've seen this one. Okay, yeah, okay, I agree with you. Possibly Charlie Sheen's most likable character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
and
he's the most likable character. When he's not talking, he's the most likable character in the movie, and he dies violently and disturbingly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right about that. Billy the Kid is the villain of this movie.
Yeah. And the other characters do not realize this.
He's the bad guy in real life, too.
Guys, spoiler alert, there's a Young Guns 2.
Okay, is now the time to talk about Young Guns 2? Because I'm equally sure that I love Young Guns 2.
Okay, good.
And I did not realize until...
I'm sure it's better than this one.
No. It's much worse. It's much worse. But we don't... Young Guns 2 is where we get Bon Jovi. I was certain. In fact, I included it in the notes for this podcast. And my recommendation was going to be the music of Bon Jovi. It's not in this movie. It's in Young Guns 2. I think we should all watch Young Guns 2 right now.
Pause the podcast.
Yeah, no, Young Guns 2 is worse. But also, this movie was a huge hit. So this was 88. The sequel came out in 90.
And I came out in 91, so...
I have several other questions, though. How do all of these people who live in the Old West know any of these famous quote-unquote gunfighters by their names and faces? Like, they're constantly throughout this movie like, oh, I see someone miles away riding towards us. That's Buckshot Bill. Oh, that's Charlie Grant. Oh, here's John Kenny. I recognize them and know their names.
And where do they keep getting these newspapers when they're on the lam?
They have a subscription. It's the kid from Better Off Dead, and he's just always like galloping up. Where's my $2?
The eagle! The delivery is here!
Yeah, I want to know who their suppliers of newspaper and tobacco were. That's who I wanted. The particulars in this movie.
Oh my God, Dermot Mulroney!
An unlimited supply of chewing tobacco.
The size of a softball.
Oh yeah,
cheek.
He had a quest to make the most repellent character in cinema,
and he wins. So he's constantly filthy. He's got that softball full of chaw, and when they're at the fancy New Year's dance, he wipes the. What do you call it? The tobacco spit
juice,
off his chin and wipes it in his hair.
He was having a ball on this movie.
So gross.
He looked like he was having just a whole ton of fun.
I bet everybody had
He was
fun.
probably like, fuck these kids I'm working with. Like, they are a bunch of jagoffs. I'm just going to have fun with this character. I'm just going to keep on adding weird shit.
Like Chevy Chase in Three Amigos. I'm just going to have fun with it. Meanwhile, as soon as they call cut, like just mountains of cocaine. just flying through everyone's brain. And here's my other so normally, Nate, when we watch these movies, we sort of look back with our 2018 eyes and say, ooh, this doesn't really hold up that well, this part's problematic, here's how like tastes have changed in these many years. It's hard to do that with Young Guns because it's a historical piece, so all of the times when I'm like, why are they being so mean to their friend who's part of their gang for being a Mexican, half Mexican, half
Is this
Navajo?
movie historically accurate?
Why is he has the least amount of reason to be friends with any of them because none of them are ever nice to him. They really don't care. Like, he does this whole like very moving monologue about how
He gets the Oscar speech.
He
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And they're all just like, yeah, that's nice. Sorry about your family. We're pals. I don't know if you heard me, but we're pals. I don't care that you're the last of your clan.
Yeah.
I said pals like 4 times, and you contractually you're obligated. So like it's hard to say, oh, that's creepy or problematic. Here's what I did find that I did not enjoy, which I remember feeling very differently about as a kid, was the love story between Kiefer Sutherland's character and the young woman whose story is that Jack Palance's character had a shirt ruined at a laundry, and so he took the Asian woman's daughter, and like she was the house whore. Kiefer Sutherland like lays eyes on her and it's just like, no, I claim you.
Yeah.
Now,
As you did in those
now
days.
I like you.
I'm your savior.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's awful to her, start to finish. He like attacks her in the street and offers her some like dirty like
Big
weeds.
shrub. Yeah.
Shrubs, like a tumbleweed.
And he calls flowers.
And he's like, no, I'm not dangerous. I'm a poet. And she's like, no, thank you. Keep your filthy weeds.
And tell your guardian I'm coming for you. I'm coming for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, I won't be like this normally. I'm
going to be a really good boyfriend. But right now, go tell the person who takes care of you that I'm going to fucking kill him. But I'm nice. I'm a poet. Then he breaks into her room and
And she's not having it.
She doesn't want any of it. And he's like yelling at her about how they're going to go make a life together.
Meanwhile, she's like,
which white boy are you again?
she seems so just
And what's
like
her name? China?
China doll.
They call her China Doll, China. Her name's like Yin Sun.
China. Yeah, he calls her China.
That's upsetting.
And he seems to care about her a lot.
Jack Palance cares about her?
Like, he seems like, if you think about the times, and he probably had many different courtesans.
Oh,
and
you're giving it the fancy
his
word.
display.
It's historically accurate. That is the parlance of their time.
And
sex workers.
Yes. So, and I think, like, why did he care so much about her? And like, he runs after her when she starts running into the house at the end. Like, he just wouldn't be like, okay.
Yeah, so Kiefer, having been such a creeper, during the big climax, she runs into the house that 60 men are shooting at to be reunited.
That's on fire.
Yeah, that's on fire because she loves him now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she didn't want to go with him when his offer was to get on a train and go to New York.
Right. Yeah. She's like, house burning?
She can run in that burning building and be like, no, at this moment I've decided I love you.
Yes. It's safer. And Kiefer says, like, come in, hurry, get in. It's safer inside.
If he really cared about her, he'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Go wait over there.
He's like,
yeah, if I get out of this.
He's like, on second thought.
Oh. Yep.
All right, and now for a brand new segment we call Padding Out the Episode. All right, I am dying to hear some of this IMDb trivia.
Okay, so this is the one that made me exclaim out loud, and it is only because I'm a boring history nerd. Like, virtually all movies about the events surrounding the Lincoln County War John Tunstall is incorrectly depicted as an older, sophisticated man. In reality, John Tunstall was only 24 years old when he was murdered. He was, in fact, younger than most of the regulators. By contrast, Josiah Doc Surlock was 31 at the time of Tunstall's murder, and Richard Dick Brewer was 27. Only the youngest regulator, William H. Bonney, a.k.a. Billy the Kid, was younger, being 20 at the time of the Lincoln County War.
So that's the only thing they got wrong?
No. There's many things they got wrong. But I just thought that was interesting that they decided to depict him. I think it would be much more interesting if you had this, 24-year-old.
This bratty kid.
Yeah. Running everything.
That's
just
awesome.
get another brat in there.
Judd Hirsch. What's that guy's name?
Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson in there.
That would have been awesome.
Guys, we can't forget what Judd Nelson did for us. He was younger than all of us, but he took us all in and was like a
And
father
taught us how to
figure.
read.
Yeah. That would have
Heavens
been
to
fun.
Betsy.
Anyway, that was...
That's the only fun?
I didn't realize I was expected to provide more than the one.
Oh, no, you're
Oh,
not
okay.
expected to do anything. Did we really cover everything that you wanted to talk about, Nathan? How could we possibly have? All right, do you want to hear the top grossing movies in 1988?
Yes.
Number 1, Rain Man. Number 2, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Number 3, Coming to America. Then Big, Twins, Crocodile Dundee 2, Die Hard. These are all movies we could have chosen instead of Young Guns also. That's what this list is. The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad, Cocktail, Beetlejuice, Working Girl, Fish Called Wanda, Scrooged, Willow, Beaches. I just want you to know. all
Guys,
these
season
movies.
2, I promise 1988 will be much better.
Young Guns is number 22. Which actually, if you think about it, is...
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had a small budget and it made $45 million.
Okay, so big return on it.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we're on to something. Quickly, Young Guns 2. Get that out there. Get Bon Jovi on the scene. Let's make this happen.
2 years later, Young Guns 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have one thing to talk about. So it was almost like an uncelebrity cameo every time the character Pat Garrett appears. It's like
Yeah.
the whole movie just grinds to a stop, and so I had to look it up. Maybe I knew then. Like Pat Garrett is the dude who kills Billy the Kid eventually.
And
But it
shoots him in the back.
really, the movie just grinds to a halt and expects you to know that immediately. And it's like a celebrity, like they give it the shot the same weight that a celebrity gets when he kind of walks in and does a cameo. Like, oh, shit, we're supposed to know who this is.
It expects you to know not only that Pat Garrett is the guy who eventually kills Billy the Kid, but also that he shoots him in the back. Because at some point he just like turns his back on him. And it's like, oh, this is a moment where if you know the history of the Lincoln County War or Billy the Kid, like, well, that's what Young Guns 2 is about, by the way. Like, he and Pat Garrett are friends, and then they split up, and Pat Garrett starts to hunt him with Viggo Mortensen. I don't know if that strikes your fancy more. So he gets the gang back together, at least those he hasn't already basically had, not murdered, that's not right. His friends who he hasn't yet been responsible for their deaths, they all get back together. Alan Ruck is there, Cameron from Ferris Bueller. And, like, they go running around killing lots of people again.
There were people left.
There were 8 people left. They kill those 8 people.
Time passed, and by that time, 2 years later, there were 12 people at least.
They're just bad. What?
What they insinuate, though, is that Billy the Kid didn't really die, that he's still alive. And he's
Oh,
an old
yeah,
man
yeah.
telling the story.
That I do remember, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I just, if the second movie is anything like this one, where it's literally, I understand that they are teenagers.
And Christian Slater's in it.
Oh, yeah, that's-
excellent.
That's right.
But I understand that the whole premise is like they're young, they're teenagers, but also in this time, 19 was like 30 now. Like by the time you were 19, you were expected to be like pretty much able to handle yourself and everything. And so for kids, quote unquote kids who've grown up in the Old West and know this world, right? They all talk about their the dirty underwear outfit
the dirty
that
underwear
Kiefer
gang.
Sutherland was part of
In Missouri.
and like all these different outfits they've been with. They are so shitty at living in the West. They trust everyone. All the people. Trust them all. They constantly put themselves in situations that no one would ever put themselves in the Old West. Like, they're just so bad at it. They're so bad at being in the West. That's why this can't even be a Western.
In fact,
They don't behave like Western
the way I
people
put it
would behave.
is, this movie would make much more sense if you took all the characters and replaced them with the cast of Entourage. That's basically everything. Every decision and everything that they do suddenly makes sense if you just replace them, like an overlay, like a program just to replace them. It's like, oh, I get it. It all makes sense now.
there's one point where the
That's how I would recast it.
that's your recast.
That's my recast.
Entourage.
Is the cast of Entourage.
The part where the character Charlie is like, they're saying we're gonna get hanged, and it's like, yeah, you're fucking murderers. Have you
In the West.
Are you not
This is common.
keeping up with us?
They were the dimmest people.
We're so dumb.
They just didn't know how the world worked.
They all had Stockholm syndrome.
It almost felt like it was like the actors. They were like, wait, they're gonna what to this character? They're gonna hang this character?
What is this
no.
movie about? Hey, what is this movie?
It's just so that's just what bugged me the whole
So
time.
obviously we think that this didn't hold up.
Not at all.
And I would
Mannequin seems so great in comparison. I gave it such a low rating.
you.
I'm gonna revise my rating and give it one more point, full point.
Okay.
So what was that, like a 5? I think I give it a 4 out of 10.
I thought you gave
Mannequin?
it a 5 or a 6.
A 4.5 maybe. Yeah, I don't know but it gets an extra point.
An extra point.
Yeah, and it takes it from Young Guns.
Yeah, and I think this is our one. Like, this is the one that we've been searching for.
This is our barometer.
It is. This is the worst movie. So on a scale of 1 young gun, let's say, to 10 young
Yeah,
guns.
what? Okay, so pistols, revolvers, young
Gatling guns that
Gatling
you save
guns?
for some reason to kill the lawyer. Don't
How many-
use the
I don't-
Gatling gun.
Oh yeah.
Till it's just the lawyer. The
Whole-
unarmed
3
dying of
days.
consumption lawyer.
3 days of a house siege. I'm assuming. Who knows?
How many house sieges would you give this?
3 days of a house siege, and then like at the end when everyone else is dead, but like the guy who did the least amount in this movie, they're like, Gatling gun for this one.
That one.
Get it out.
Okay, I've got it. On a scale of 1 pal to 10 pals.
Oh, there we go. Because that is the theme of the movie, right? That's the end.
Friendship is
Yeah.
the theme. That's what we're meant to
That's
walk away with.
I feel like they made this movie and it's like, oh, we got to put a little fresh paint on this. We got to put some hip, exciting saxophone music at the beginning and end. And then we've got to add in this thing about pals and how friends are forever.
And it felt, and if the music, that music was like, you just took it from a different movie. You cut it from a different 80s movie, which I know they
It
all
might be the music from Mannequin.
It might be from several different ones, and they use it in the montage too. So they do it at the beginning, the
Yeah.
end, and then they do it in the peyote montage, right in the middle. And which, by the way, I still love that payoff. That's probably my favorite part of the movie was the payoff on the peyote montage, where it's like, oh, it gets them through the Indian land. That's how he planned it. I
We're in
love
the spirit world.
Right, we're in the spirit world. He's
They
like,
can't see
he got him
us.
just like dumb enough and non-threatening enough to walk them right through a Native American village, which I thought was genius. I actually really loved that payoff and the way it was written.
Okay, that scene is hilarious, though. We didn't talk enough about him being like, dog, did you see the size of that chicken? And like the whole butterfly flower thing. Like, butterfly finds flower and stays with it. No, that's not how butterflies work.
And it comes out of nowhere because it's almost like Kubrickian. How it's just talk about grinding the movie to a halt.
How
that
many grinds
montage
to the movie.
that montage was like,
Grinds to a halt.
we're gonna stop here. We're gonna show you all of them several times around on this peyote, and then the payoff was great at the end. But I thought they did miss an opportunity for montage early on. They could have had a total deputy training montage.
Yeah,
that they could have thrown that
absolutely.
music over of them like
100%
practicing in the desert on shooting at cacti.
There
and
has
stuff.
to be like some kind of like course, and even if it's an hour-long presentation of like, here's what you can and cannot do as a deputy.
Nope.
No orientation. Anyway,
So, how many guns pointed at your face do you give?
I'm gonna give it 2 pals and a dirty Steve.
2 pals and a dirty Steve. Okay, so 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5 pals. Okay, I will give it. I'll give it 4.
I will give it
And a TARDIS.
And
a TARDIS. I think I too will give it 2.5 or 2.4 to give it. I want to be the person who gives it the lowest in the room.
I'm gonna give it $1, Bob.
$1 Bob. I'm gonna give it 2.4 weird unnecessary photos of Billy the Kid.
Yeah, what was that?
Was he handing out his headshot? Was he trying to get a
He gets
job?
a picture taken and he tries to give it to the first person after he's
Alex,
given them a
to the
quest,
lawyer, yeah.
a mission, and he doesn't want to take it, and then he turns and gives it to his wife.
Yeah, and Alex was like,
Alex
was like, I'm gonna give this to my producer. Yeah, no, I'll pass this along.
Totally read your screenplay. Okay, what is your deep cut recommendation?
All right, so if you liked Young Guns, then you can go to hell, sir. No, I'm going to recommend that you see a similar movie that is the polar negative, Unforgiven, which kind of deals with some of the same things of like revenge and violence, but good.
But so this movie won an Oscar, though. I was going to say Unforgiven, Oscar winning. Yeah, was it Best Picture or did it just win like
What, Unforgiven?
Best
Yeah,
Actress
no,
and
it got
stuff?
Best Picture.
Okay,
So fuck you, Young Guns.
I think Young Guns also won an Oscar.
Not an Oscar.
Best use of music?
It's going to turn out it did not.
I don't think you need to search.
It
Okay.
won the Bronze Wrangler Theatrical Motion Picture.
Okay, you're right. I'm an idiot.
Young Guns won the award for not best acting, but most acting.
Most acting. All right. What's your deep cut recommendation?
My deep cut recommendation to watch is if you're interested in the history of this war, you can watch either the PBS did a documentary about Billy the Kid. I believe it was American Experience. They also Ken Burns' Old West documentary is an excellent one as well. So if you're interested in more history,
Nice.
go watch those.
Okay.
Or just visit Santa Fe. It's a nice town.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Those are good.
Take the Young Guns tour.
Which takes you to Mexico and back in a single day.
I'm going to stick with my original recommendation was that I fully planned to just recommend the music of Bon Jovi, and I'm sticking with it. Listen to Bon Jovi.
Instead
Which
of
does
watch-
not appear in Young
instead of
Guns
watching
1.
Young Guns.
Absolutely not in Young Guns. Okay. Anything else, boys? No?
I think I got it all
let's
out.
just be done with this.
This was exciting.
Shit.
This was so much fun.
The fun, you should have been in the room with us because, boy, did we have a good time. All right, be sure to join us next time on a most excellent 80s movie podcast. We are watching The Burbs from 1989. It's our final movie selection of season 1.
Wow.
Aw, it's episode 10. You can find us online at mostexcellentpod.com. Find us on the Facebook group, which is just the Most Excellent Facebook group. Instagram, we're Most Excellent Pod. Yeah, and you can, of course, find Nathan at
Squishy Studios, squishystudios.com, or on Instagram as well.
Nate. Where can people find you?
on twitter.com at NateMCW, also at the National Comedy Theater.
In real life,
in
at the National
IRL
Comedy Theater.
at the National Comedy Theater, and on Gank That Drink
Gank
on
That
Most
Drink.
Excellent Pod.
Yes. Supernatural.
That's not that podcast. You can't talk like that.
Supernatural drinking game podcast, where we play drinking game rules and watch Supernatural. And you know, if you're in anywhere in the Southwest, as we've just learned, you can hop on a horse and be at National Comedy Theater in Mesa, Arizona, in like a few hours.
20 minutes.
That's how time
from
works.
Santa Fe, I
When
hear.
you
If it's
On
downhill, yeah,
horse,
it's much
yeah.
quicker.
Find NCT at nctphoenix.com. Do all that podcast jazz, like, rate, subscribe, review, you get it by now. As always, on the Most Excellent 80s Movie Podcast, we remind you to be excellent to each other and
Pals.